What's up, guys? I'm sorry for not uploading for a bit. I was over in Pittsburgh, actually, with the person I'm recording with today, Thundy, if he wants
Hey
to go and say.
guys!
He's a competitive player right now. He top 32 at NAIC in 2023, I believe.
24.
But if he wants to go on and introduce himself with some facts about him and his competitive history.
Hey guys, so I've been playing since about when Scarlet Violet dropped. I don't really have that much experience with like really anything pre Sword and Shield. The most amount of information I have about the game pre Scarlet Violet comes from GLC, which isn't really a great representation of previous formats. So I don't really think I know much about anything pre Scarlet Violet, but I'm ready to go 20-0 today, baby. Let's see it.
But yeah, actually going into what we're going to be covering today, he's going to be looking at some retro cards, mainly from stuff pre-2016, so like pre-Black and White, pre-X and Y, and seeing if he can kind of tell if they're really bad or if they were really heavily used. So going into the first slide, we have Mega Prime. What do you think about this card?
Let me read it out real quick. If you have the same number of cards in your hands as your opponent, the attack cost of each Yanmega's attack is 0. 40 damage to any of Pokemon, so it's a 40. Retake that as sorry, I keep messing up. I think the effects that are about how many cards you have are really interesting in the card game. I don't think any of them have ever been good. I'm trying to think of a format where this would be good. I feel like trying to max the amount of cards in your hand as your opponent is always it's an infinitely more difficult thing to do than have a lower amount of cards. So I'm gonna say this card was not good. I don't think 40 damage is a lot, especially for back then.
I mean, well, look how much health Yanmega has.
Yeah, I guess 110. It's 110 and 70. But it's also not an EX.
So let's go on and rate it 1 out of 10. Like, what would you say 1 out of 10? 10 being like Lugia V-Star, 1 being just like a base, like a bulk card.
Okay, would you say like 5 is like locals deck, like something you could win locals with?
5 is probably like Regieleki VMAX, where like some people try and mess around with it, but it's like not great.
Okay, I'd say this card to be like 3 or 4.
Okay, 3 or 4. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the next slide, show you another card, see if that changes your perspective on it at all.
Judge. Oh, I forgot this card existed. Oh, geez, but you're right. I think I changed my mind. This card, I remember there being a card. I think it's Telepath Gardevoir. Again, I know a little bit of it retro, and I remember it letting you. Different format. Oh, okay. Then never mind. Scrap that. I forgot Judge existed. I think that changes my perspective a lot. I changed my mind. I think actually this card might have been like a 7 or 8. This probably has won a few regionals.
So this card actually top 8'd Worlds alongside winning multiple internationals and regionals. It was one of the top decks in 2011 and was splashed in a deck with Magnezone. And Magnezone's attack it did 50 for each energy discarded from your Pokemon in play. So you would use Judge with Yanmega to attack for free while setting up energies on your Magnezone to do a ton of damage late game.
I see. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
And in the format, there was no Gust, and there were also no other good bench snipers. So this really was able to capitalize on being able to weaken stuff with Sonic Boom and then killing it with Linear Attack. Especially in Mirrors, since the Linear Attack plus Sonic Boom would one-shot another Yanmega.
Got it. Okay, right.
2011, so same format as Yanmega. What do you think about this card?
Okay. I'm trying to think. So, the thing with cards like this, like Outrage, I feel like they've never really been all that great. The only card that comes to mind is actually a kind of reprint of this card, that being Ends Reshiram from Journey Together. That's rough. I don't know. I feel like Outrage is not a good attack unless there's a way for you to copy it, which I don't think existed back in Black and White.
Correct.
I'm gonna assume this is bulk. I'm just gonna assume that it just was not played at all. I think it's like a 1.
Okay. I actually never made the connection between this and End Reshiram. It's actually kind of a funny connection. But I'll show you one more card, see if that changes your point of view. But what would you rate this 1 out of 10 before seeing anything else?
Okay. I would say it'd just be bulk. It'd be like a 1 or a 2.
Like a 1. Okay. Here's the next card.
Okay.
Good old DC.
I still don't think that changes things. Like, it doesn't matter if you can get a double attachment. If, like... Okay. If this card existed in a format where, like... Okay, this is kind of a struggle, because I don't know if the format was, like, more one-shotty or two-shotty. Or, like... I don't... I'm still gonna say...
I'll say the format was, like, 3-4 shot range.
Okay.
Very few decks for one-shot.
I still feel like it was not a good card. I'm gonna say no. This card was not good. This is a trick question.
So this card actually was one of the most represented cards at the 2011 World Championships.
My God, you're kidding me.
It was released alongside Zekrom in black and white base set, and it was extremely good because with DCE, with Outrage, you were hitting Yanmega for weaknesses. Yanmega was the most prominent.
Oh, I forgot those. You know what?
Yep.
I forgot. That's my bad.
In Outrage Mirrors, you would hit each other for 20, and then it would go to 40, and then it would go to 80, so it would ramp really quick.
Right. Okay.
And there's also a card called Typhlosion Prime, which once during your turn you could search your deck for a fire and attach it, and it did 1 damage to Reshiram.
I see. Okay.
So you can ramp damage real quickly. But yeah, we're 1-1, not quite 20-0, but moving on to the next card.
Gengar EX.
Gengar EX.
Okay. So this is the first 2 Prezzer I've seen.
Yep.
Putting 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon or switching, or okay. It's okay. It's a hidden dash. I don't know what they're called.
Hit and run.
Hit and run. So it's a hit and run. Okay. The only way I think this card could be good is if it was improved by an evolution. I do recognize the jelly beans in the card. So this was an X and Y era card. Also, I just recognized the art is very X and Y.
It was the Phantom Forces.
Yeah, Phantom Forces. Okay, so this would have been when Mega Gengar came out.
Correct. Mega Gengar was around in this.
Okay. I'm gonna say this card was. Okay, I'm gonna say this card was not good. On its own, it was only good by proxy of Mega Gengar. So by that, I guess I would say this card would be like a 7 or an 8. Only because
7 or an 8? Okay.
Only because of the existence of Mega Gengar.
Okay, so you think by itself it wouldn't be a deck?
No, I think by itself it is not a good card.
Okay, so I'm gonna go on and show you 2 more cards real quick. Here's the first one.
Okay.
Burbank City.
Okay. Yep. So yeah, put 2 more damage counters. So this is essentially Radiant Sneasler.
Correct. It's Radiant Sneasler on Stadium.
Got it. The only thing I know about Burbank City is that one video of the seniors finals of a regional, and one of them starts 30 HP Pokemon, and his opponent immediately shows Burbank City Hypnotic Laser, and he just throws his deck at him.
It's so broken.
I know Burbank City Gym was a very good card, but that's only because of Hypnotic Laser. I still don't think Dark Quarter is a good attack because 80 it would have been 90 damage. That's not a little. That's not like nothing. But 3 energy, I don't think is easy to get put onto. I don't think it's an easy amount of energy to accelerate. So I'm gonna say, I think this is a trick question. I will tell you,
Double Colorless was around in this format.
Okay, that's still a 2 attachments.
Yep, it is.
I feel like since you're leaning into Dark Quarter, I don't think Mega Gengar has much of a relevance in this. I think I'm gonna change around. I'm actually saying no. This card was not good. I don't think this card was.
One last card I'll show you. See if it changes your point of view at all. Trevenant.
Okay, I did forget this card existed too. So for those who are following along at home, whenever it's in the active spot, your opponent cannot play any item cards from their hand. So this is essentially, if you're familiar with the current format, this is Jellicent or Buddy on an ability. So I could see this working well as like a chip deck. That's actually really hard. I'm trying to think. I feel like you're trying to trick me with the Burbank City Gym, because I know that card is very good with Hypnotic Laser, but I've never ever seen it be paired with Gengar EX. That's why I'm trying. Is this a trick question? Because I see the combo right with the hitting into Trevenant. Oh wait, would this have been? This would have been a format with Pokemon Catcher too. Oh wait, yeah, the catcher would have been in this format too. So this would have been like, wait, oh gosh, I think you changed. Okay, I'm gonna say this was like, okay, I have a final answer. This card would have been like a 6 or a 7. Don't say it. I'm gonna say this card was a 6 or 7. I think it would have been pretty okay. I don't think it would have won any. I think it would have maybe won like 1 or 2 regionals, maybe. Maybe would have top 8'd a few times, but I don't think other than that it would have been crazy.
And it wasn't like an S tier deck. I'd say it was like A, D tier, but It did have a really good run at Worlds in 2015. It got a 5th, a 19th, and a 27th as
That's
this hit and run deck. It only
I
played 2
see.
Verbank, so it wasn't like the main point of the deck, but the hit and run, this format was very, very item heavy. Most decks played like 4 Catcher, 4 VS Seekers, so just a ton of items. So being able to item
Right.
lock in this format was really valuable. And then just disrupt with end in that same turn, you could just lock them out of the game a lot of the time.
I
And then you could
see.
also floatstone. You floatstone on your Trevenant, retreat back into the Gengar, and then just hit for 90 again. You
I
can loot that
see,
fairly easily.
right. Okay, I'd say I earned that point. I'd say I'm 2-1. I'd say I
Yeah,
earned that
I'd say you
point.
got that pretty accurately.
All right, cool. All right,
All right,
next slide.
moving on to the
let's
next
see
card. Moving on to the next card. Moving on to the next card after Gengar EX, we have Vespiquen.
Okay, so Nintendo's gonna 10 damage, draw till you have 6, and Be Revenge 10 for each Pokemon in your discard pile. Okay, I've always seen Pokemon try and do this. With cards like United Wings or Night March, with it doing more damage with more X in your discard pile. And I don't know, 10 for each. Okay, if it was 20 like United Wings, I feel like this card would have been broken because I know double colors did exist in this format, but gosh, I don't know. I feel like you're gonna be hitting for like 100 to like 150 max, and you have to play a lot of like bad Pokemon, I think, just to make this.
This is
like,
in the EX format, so Shaman and stuff was around.
Right. But there wasn't necessarily a way to get those cards back up and discarded unless you played something like AZ. So I'm gonna say
Right.
like, but I don't think this card is bad. I'm gonna say this is like a 5 out of 10 maybe.
5 out of 10. Okay, I'll show you one more card. See if that changes your point of view at all.
Sure.
Not necessarily a super related card, but I could say it had some influence.
Battle
Battle
compressor. Okay, so searching your deck for 3 cards and discarding them. I think that does change my view on things a little bit. I do think Battle Compressor was a very broken card at the time. Does it make it worthwhile? Like, does it make Vespiquen a good deck? I don't know. Because the HP of most EXs at the time was like 200, right? 200, 210?
I'd say like 180 is a normal for an EX. 180.
Okay, let's think about this logistically. In order for a deck to function, you have to have... First of all, you have to have a consistent way to get damage out. Well, with non-controlling decks. So, with Vespiquen, you have to have a way to consistently get into an evolution, an energy attachment, and you have to manage to get Pokemon in the discard pile. The issue with United Wings right now, at least, is that it is kind of inconsistent. I feel like with that deck, it's very hard to get Pokemon out, or in the discard pile. That might just be because of the format we're in right now. But I feel like there aren't enough Pokemon worthwhile enough to discard. Like, I feel like you'd just be playing either other Vespiquen or, like, a bunch of EXs like Shaman. If this was in a format with, like, Dedenne GX or, like, maybe Lumineon. I don't know if there was an equivalent Lumineon back then. I feel like it might be better because those are cards you could want to discard. Or, like, if there was a way to discard Pokemon off your bench very easily, I could see it being good. But if it's... I feel like it doesn't have a big enough damage output. And it's just not going to be consistent enough. So I'm going to say no, this deck was not good.
Okay, I will add on. So your answer was it is not good, but I will give you one more hint
Okay.
before you lock it in. Seismitoad was weak to grass.
That kind of just gives me it then. I mean,
not necessarily. Seismitoad was good, but it wasn't necessarily best deck at the time. I'd say Greninja was probably best deck. Greninja Break.
Right. Okay.
And Greninja Breaks for its ability to 60.
I'll keep my score at like a 5 out of 10. I'm gonna say this card, it did all right. I don't think it did anything crazy, but it had some relevance. Like it's the Surla GX of the retro format.
Okay. So this deck went on a run, winning regionals, internationals, and worlds from 2016
You're
all the way up to 2019. It
Okay.
was played with a bunch of random stuff. When it won Worlds in 2017, it played with the Yanmega, which is just a good cheap attacker to one-shot Seismitoad. And it played with Judge. It was another Yanmega where it could attack for free if you had the same amount of cards in hand.
Right.
And with Shaman. So it was really good at countering stuff like Seismitoad, obviously.
Right.
And it took a pretty okay matchup into Greninja, just because you're so much quicker than them. Because you had double colorless, so you could just attack super quickly.
I see. Okay.
But besides that, it was a really solid deck. It was even solid and expanded. You just play it with 4 Battle Compressor and just like go super aggressive.
Got it. Okay. Cut this out of the video.
And
by the way.
also, Force of Giant Plants is around in this format. So you can just turn one
Oh, I
Force of
forgot
Giant
that card
Plants double color.
existed. Oh my god.
Yep.
I forgot that card existed. You should put that in. That would have like changed my answer instantly, I think.
Yeah, I thought that one might have given it away. But this one was kind of a tricky question
got
if you
it.
weren't familiar with the format.
Right.
Moving on
Alright,
to...
Okay. So I do know this card got reprinted in 2023, I think, in the Sword and Shield expansion, Darkness Ablaze, I think. And that card saw no play whatsoever. But considering this would have been a format with Colress, I think, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
that's actually
Colress.
next turn.
Okay.
It's in the format with Colress.
Okay. So yeah, this card did exist with Colress, which is an incredibly powerful draw card. Letting you draw a card equal to the number of bench Pokemon in play. I don't know. I think search cards are always great, and especially if it's just any trainer card you want. I'm gonna say this card was like played in. It was like a must have in like every deck. I think it would be like a 10. I think on playability.
It was a 4 of in pretty much every deck in 2012. Just because you needed not too many resources every turn, and you had stuff like Shaman to draw with your hand, like get everything back that you need. So you didn't really need Colress every turn. You still played like 2 Colress, 4 Ends, 4 Research, but Skyla usually got what you needed every turn.
Awesome.
Moving on from Skyla, we have Mega Gengar.
Okay. These kinds of cards are
Understand
always
early.
tricky. So yeah, I did mention this card earlier. Choosing one of your, so for those I'll repeat that. Letting you choose one of your opponent's attacks and then using it seems like a very broken move. We can see this with cards like nowadays, like Mew EX, letting you just copy your opponent's active attacks. But I think letting you choose any of your opponent's attacks seems significantly stronger. But I feel like there could be counterplay to this. 220 is not a lot of damage. And if it's weak to dark, that means it could. Where they need to. I do remember Darkrai EX vaguely being a good card back then. So, let me think. No, Yveltal. So with Yveltal being in format, I feel like this card wouldn't be great. Just because it takes a weakness into what I remember being a very strong deck.
You did have double colorless. I do want you to know that.
You did have double colorless. I do know about that. But
and you also had the Baby Gengar, which is also very strong.
Right. But I feel like sometimes is this in the same format as Vespiquen and Frogadier, whatever it's called?
Esmetoad was still very strong, was still one of the top decks, but Vespiquen and Greninja were not still around.
Okay, I'm gonna say this card was not good because if this isn't Toad format, I think if you wanted to I think it's just more efficient to play Toad if you wanted to copy attacks. Well, Toad didn't copy attacks; he just allows you to items. I think I'm saying it's more worthwhile to just straight up, always off the bat, be doing damage and item locking rather than having to set up and then item lock. So I'm gonna say no. This card was not good.
I mean, yeah, you kind of got it on the nose. If you were playing in this format, you'd rather just be playing Toad. This is kind of just doing what Toad could do, but worse. And if you wanted to do item lock stuff, you should just be playing Baby Gengar Trevenant. So yeah, you pretty much got that right spot.
I'm
This
the
card
goat,
saw 0.
baby.
It did not have any results.
Let's go.
Going into the next card, we have Gyarados.
Gyarados. Okay, I do remember this card getting a reprint in X and Y. So Taylor Revenge for no energy. Let me gather my thoughts. Okay, so Taylor Revenge seems like a very good attack, with it costing no energy and doing 30 damage times the number of Magikarp in your discard pile. So the most amount of damage you could be doing at once is 90, which seems very good for the format it was in. But realistically, you want to be having at least like one other Magikarp on your bench. So it'd be more like 60 damage, and that's not very good. Wreak Havoc doing 40 damage and flipping a coin until you get tails. And for each heads, milling a card off the top of your opponent's stack seems fine. Not really anything crazy. And Dragon Week just seems unrealistic with it being a 5 energy attack and only doing 100 damage. With the effect really not being all that relevant. I'm going to say this card was not good. I feel like if your main attacker gets knocked out, it doesn't matter if you're doing 90 damage. You're just not going to have anything else to do. So, no, I'm going to say this card was bad, got like no play.
So I'd say that's a pretty accurate guess, or like a pretty fair one. This was in Luxtron format, so everything had like 110 HP, just to give you like an idea.
Right.
I'm going to show you 2 more cards real quick to see if that changes your point of view at all.
Broken time. So, okay. This does change my view a little bit. Broken Space Time letting you essentially force a giant plant your way to any Pokemon. So evolving Pokemon the second it comes into play. And Pokemon Rescue letting you search your deck for or discard pile for a Pokemon and then just putting it back in your hand. I'm still gonna say this card. I don't think it was terrible now with the context of those 2 cards, but I'm gonna say it wasn't perfect. I'd say maybe like 5 or 6 out of 10. Because only being able to play 4 Pokemon Rescues doesn't seem that great. Along with needing the actual requirement of getting the Magikarp in your discard pile, having Broken Space Time in play. So I'm gonna say this card was maybe like a 5 or 6 out of 10.
Card especially strong in this format is that the person going first could attack. Does that change your mind at all?
I'm gonna say no. I still feel like it's very hard to get Pokemon in your cards in your discard pile very quickly. Even though they were very different formats, I don't think Ultra Ball existed back then. So
It didn't.
yeah, I'm still gonna say this card was not crazy good. I'm gonna say it was a 5 or 6 still. So I'd say it was a
There
6.
weren't any great ways to get stuff in the discard, but it still did get 5th at Worlds. It was able to keep up with Lux Chomp, was able to tank attacks pretty well, and you were able to really consistently be able to chain your Gyarados attacks for like 60, 90-ish, and that's already half hitting everything in the format. So although it wasn't like top of its game, top 8 Worlds still is pretty solid, but it wasn't on Lux Chomp level. Lux Chomp definitely was just like the deck.
Got it. Okay. I'd say I'm what, 5-3 at this point?
Yeah, I'd say about that.
Got it.
Yeah, this card was, I'd say it's about a 7 or an 8.
Got it.
Moving on to the next card, got another Gyarados.
Another Gyarados. So for 4 energy, it does 20 damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do discard... Oh, so, okay, you may do more damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. Okay, so milling yourself is never a good thing, most of the time. The only time you ever want to mill yourself is maybe with decks like, Lugia or Ceruledge that want cards in the discard pile. Even Lugia is not even that great of a example. I think Gardevoir would be a better example of a card that a deck that kind of mills itself. I'm gonna say this card probably wasn't that good. 4 energy attacks all by themselves. That's a lot of energy. Especially in formats that don't have what do you call it? What's the kind of ability that attaches as much energy as you like?
Deluge.
Yeah, with the formats that don't have Deluge, did this format have the Blastoise Deluge in it?
I believe it rotated.
Okay, yeah, without that being in format, also with this card ending your turn when you evolved it, I'm gonna say no, this card sucked, no play.
This card was dookie. This card saw literally 0 play. Didn't have any regional play. Not even any day 2s, I don't think. This card sucked.
Super genius.
There's just no way to efficiently get enough energies into play to be one-shotting stuff, especially if you're item locked under Toad. You're just not really doing anything consistently. Just kind of sucked.
All right, let's go.
Moving on to the next card. We got Slowking.
Oh god, okay. Wait, is this the card I think it is? Is this the misprint?
Yes, it was misprinted.
Okay.
This card was originally released in Japan with the ability Mind Games that said, whenever your opponent plays this trainer card from their hand, you may flip a coin. If it's head, that card does nothing. It goes on the top of their deck. You cannot use more than 1 Mind Games ability per turn. But when it was translated over to English, it was actually mistranslated where you could have as many of them as you wanted. So you could have 4 Slowkings, make them flip 4 times, and they have to flip 4 heads to be able to play anything.
So, I do know about this card's existence. I do know how broken it is, but I do think this card is interesting enough to keep in the video. So I'm gonna say I know this card was crazy broken. How long did it take before this card got eroded?
It never got eroded.
That's crazy. So how would decks counter such a thing?
They didn't. Every deck just played 4/4 Slowking, and the format just kind of sucked. People actually theorized at the time that it was because Wizards owned Pokemon at the time. They're trying to kill off Pokemon and make Magic bigger.
That's
a
interesting.
big thing that a lot of people thought back then.
I see.
We have Team Rocket's Trickery.
So draw 2 cards, and then your opponent discard a card from their hand.
They get to choose.
I'm gonna say. Let me think. I remember I vaguely know a little bit about Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I do remember there being cards that like a lot of draw cards. I think this card was not good because of a later card that came out. I think it was Mars. Making your opponent discard 2 cards from their hand after you draw 2. Something like that. I might be wrong, so that could change my answer. Don't correct me. I'm gonna say this card was not good. I think there are a lot more better draw cards. And having your opponent discard cards from their choice is usually never a good thing. So I'm gonna say no. This card was not good.
This card was not good. And if you were playing stuff to try and disrupt your opponent, you'd rather be playing stuff like Seeker, which made both people pick up a Pokemon from the bench, put it in their hand, and that was always actively doing something for you. And drawing 2 just wasn't strong enough at the point in the game. You'd rather just be playing a different consistency supporter than draw 2, which just felt really weak a lot of the time. And discarding 1 never really affects the game.
Right.
Alrighty, moving on to the next card, we have Terrakion.
Okay. So this card, fun fact, actually also received a reprint in the Black Bolt White Flare set.
It did. I believe it was a direct reprint, wasn't it?
It was not a direct reprint. It did I think 90 more damage, so not 60. I might be wrong.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So, for those who are following along at home, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your last turn, this attack does 60 more damage. So it's 90 damage on a Fighting Colorless, 130 basic. Was this in the format with fighting support? Was it with Sabrina and stuff?
Nope.
Nope. This card was not good. I think fighting was only ever good when it got support alongside Sabrina. Along with other stuff it got. I'm gonna say no. This card was not good whatsoever.
Alright, I'll show you one more card real quick and see if it changes your mind at all.
So each of your Pokemon that have Dark Energy attached to it have no retreat cost. And it's a 90 with a 30 snipe. I feel like you're trying to throw me off here. I don't see the correlation. I'm gonna say no. This card was still bad.
So I don't know if you might have glazed over it, but Darkrai.
Oh, I missed that. Uh-oh.
And Darkrai just so happened to be in every single deck in the top 8 of this year's Worlds. So, and Terrakion was the one that won this World. It was Darkrai, Mewtwo, Terrakion. And it kind of just aimed to beat everything else in the format. 90 was just really solid to hit, and a 30 easily picked off a lot of little baby stuff in the format. And Terrakion, you're just kind of using to beat other Darkrai's.
Such a fool.
So it was a tech option, but it was definitely strong.
I see.
Alrighty, moving on to one of the last cards we have Mewtwo EX.
I already know this card. This card is crazy good. Actually insane.
Stupid.
So this card was very good, because the attack, for a sec, this is in a format with double colorless. There's 20 damage times the amount of the energy attached to both Pokemon. So if you both had double colorless attached, this did 80 damage, correct? Or
if both people have, it did 80 times 2.
Yeah, so it would do 160 damage. Wait. Oh yeah, so it would do 160 damage because Mewtwo's weak to itself. And that kind of just gave way for every match to become a X-Ball mirror. So yeah, this card was like crazy good back then. Wasn't it worth
in
like
fact, this was one of the very first EXs released, and it caused the Mewtwo Wars, which was pretty much Mewtwo mirrors for almost a year straight up until Darkrai released, which then there was kind of some contention for the best EX with Terrakion and stuff. But then they kind of just ended up playing Darkrai Mewtwo, which was just another mess. But yeah, this card was ridiculous. This card was broken.
Right.
Alrighty, one of the last cards is Holon Transceiver. I believe this is actually the last card we're going to be covering.
Okay, let me see. Search deck for a supporter card that has Holon in its name. Show it to your opponent, put it in your hand, shuffle it afterwards. Or search your... Okay. Oh, so you either search your deck for a Holon supporter or a one from your discard. Can I ask for context on Holon supporters? Do you have any you could show me that could maybe help me change?
I actually do. I have Holon Mentor here.
So discard your card from your hand. Search for 3 Pokemon that. Okay. So this was in the format alongside what is it? Sorry. This is a format where you could play supporters going first, correct?
Correct. This was in like Lugia, Blastoise, Steelix format.
No idea what that means, but I'm gonna say just going off Holon Mentor, that is a very strong setup card. I'm gonna say this card was good. I'm gonna say it was played a ton.
Redo it.
Going off of being able to play supporters first, and with a search for 3 basics being a very, very powerful ability.
You cut out.
Yeah, no, I was trying to figure out what to say. ability, I think it makes for a very good card. So I'm gonna say Holland Transfer was like a 4 of in every deck.
Yeah, this card was extremely strong. It was a 4 of in the Holland deck. So not every deck had the Holland engine. Only some decks played it, but the decks that did play it played it as a 4. This card is actually a $25 staple as an uncommon in this format just because of how strong the Holland engine is.
How many other Holland supporters are there? Are there any that are good?
As an example of another one, there's a card called Holland Adventurer, which drew 3, and you can discard a card. If you discard a Delta species Pokemon, you draw an extra 2 cards.
That's very
And now that's
strong.
an example of that's an example of another thing you could fetch with it. It was just a good way to grab different options from your deck during your turn, and then it was a good way to draw off stuff like Tiba Rocket's Admin, which was in the format, which was just N.
Right. I see. Very interesting.
Yeah, so just added. What's up, guys? I appreciate you watching the end. Huge shout out to Thundy for joining me in this video. If you watch this far, I'd appreciate it if you like and subscribed. I hope that you enjoyed the video. This took a long time to put together. It was quite a long recording and by far the most editing I've had to put into any video. If you like this long-term type of content, let me know in the comments, and I'll try and put more stuff together like this. But I hope that you all enjoyed and have a great day.